What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the physique update of John De La Rosa and the confirmation that he's shooting for this upcoming Tampa Pro, which is happening in about 3 weeks time from now. So John had one of the most detailed looking back double biceps at this past Arnold Classic Ohio as well as at UK. And we have seen that now show after show that he has found the right formula with his current coach Patrick Tour. And we have seen that now in multiple shows that he has been ripped to the bone every single time he steps on stage. So John is one of those guys who doesn't look 100% ready weeks out of the shoe. But this look is gonna totally change come show day, because he is one of those guys who changes so much in the last couple of weeks. So there was a lot of pressure on John to do this year's Detroit Pro, which was scheduled after Arnold UK. And originally that was his plan. And maybe he could have won that show, because Martin Fitzwater wasn't as good in Detroit as he was at this past New York Pro. So John would definitely have been a contender. But these guys decide to take a break, have a little off season, and put on some more thickness, some more size in all the white areas. And now he is getting ready to fight for his Miss Olympia qualification for 2024. And keep in mind, if he does qualify for the Olympia, he's gonna be stepping on that big stage after 5 long years. So this month of July is gonna be absolutely insane, because we have an open Olympia qualifier on every weekend. We just had one last weekend and that was Portugal Pro. Next weekend we have Vancouver Pro. And then there's Chicago Pro, Dubai Pro, and then Tampa Pro. So I am guessing a lot of these guys are going to be doing these back-to-back shows. Now I'm going to say this once again. It absolutely blows my mind that why some of these guys are choosing not to compete in a qualifier like Dubai Pro, which is paying more than 4 times compared to the rest of the qualifiers. So as of right now, based on what we have seen from John, especially in Ohio, he's certainly the favorite to win Tampa. So let's wait and see how the final lineup turns out to be. Next up, we have a 13.5 weeks out physique update from Rafael Brandao, the 2 times Arnold Classic Brazil champion. Although his first victory was a very clear one compared to this recent one, when Tonio Bton gave him a very serious one for his money. And actually, a lot of the people had Tonio Bton winning that show. So Brandao is getting ready for the second Miss Olympia of his career. And there is no doubt that if he brings that same look as he did at the Arnold in Columbus, he's gonna be a top 10 finisher for sure. He just has the goods, the flow, the aesthetics, and now he has the size as well. He has put on some solid size in the last 1 year or so. So Rafael is gonna be extremely competitive, especially in those 7th and 10th spots. And that is what most of the experts think. So I believe him and his team are aiming for their first call out at the Olympia. But the thing is, we have seen it in the past. That's how slowly Rafael Brandao has put on the mass and thickness over the years. So there is only so much he could do in a few months of this offseason that started after his victory at the Arnold Brazil. Now if somehow he does come in with a lot more size, then he can definitely beat a lot of big names. So Rafael and his coach Neil Hill are aiming to fight for Miss Olympia title in another 2 to 3 years. And their main priority is to keep their beautiful lines intact during that process of getting bigger. So for those of you guys who do not know, Rafael Brandao is just 30 years old. So he has got a long career ahead of him, and he has got time on his hand. So Martin Fitzwater also gave us a physique update on his road to his first ever Miss Olympia. So there is only one time you get to make your Olympia debut, and make it a very memorable one. And Martin is gonna do everything in his power to shock people, just the way he did at this past New York Pro. They pushed the favorite Nick Walker to the absolute limits for the win. Now that was Martin at his very best, but Nick and Matt Jensen both admitted that wasn't the best version of Nick Walker to date. So it is gonna be really interesting to see how Martin can compare to the likes of Nick Walker and Miss Olympia, where the mutant is most probably gonna bring his A game. So here we have another competitor who is definitely gonna be in the first call out in the future at the Olympia. But Martin himself thinks that he can do that this year. But in my opinion, the chances of that happening are looking kinda slim. But we will see how this goes. So, guys like Brendan Carey, Big Robbie, William Bonac, they are eventually gonna retire, as they are at the tail end of their careers. I mean, we aren't even sure whether Big Robbie is gonna compete at this upcoming Miss Olympia or not. And even with Brendan Carey, we never see anything from him in terms of updates. So coming back to Martin, the guy is just 27 years old. He has got an insane shape. Plus we have seen is how shredded he gets when he is fully on. So he was in a better condition than the mutant Nick Walker at the New York Pro. And that is saying something. So all these traits combined that makes him a very dangerous men's open guy, especially for the future. This next update is from Classic Physique. So Logan Franklin is looking so great this far out of the show. So he is gonna be such a good addition to this year's Miss Olympia lineup. Definitely gonna be one of the best posers as well. So Logan has competed in Classic Physique Olympia just once, after switching from the men's physique to Classic Physique, and that was back in 2020. And if I'm not mistaken, he is one of those guys who actually placed high in the men's physique division multiple times. And he was able to place top 10 in his Classic Physique debut. And that was actually really good. But the thing is, that isn't what these guys were aiming for. Logan was portraying himself as the guy who is gonna challenge Chris Bumstead for the title. And that was just a few years back. But then guys like Urs Kleschinski and Ramondino came onto the scene. So Logan has got to prove a lot to himself this year, and to his fans as well. So watching Patrick Tuor bringing Stefan in the best conditioning of his life at this year's Prodigal Pro, that must have given Logan Franklin a lot more confidence in his current coach. So where do you guys see Logan Franklin placing at this year's Miss Olympia? Can he place as high as top 6? Do let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So lastly, we have a 13.5 weeks old physique update of this year's California Pro champion, Tonio Bton. So he was unable to defend his New York Pro title this year, where both Martin Fitzwater and Nick Walker were able to beat him. And we all know Tonio Bton was able to place top 8 at last year's Miss Olympia. So going by paper, these two guys, Martin and Nick, they are gonna definitely beat him again at this year's Miss Olympia. Now it's a little bit harsh, but that is a reality, that some of these guys would not have placed that high as they did in 2023, especially if guys like Nick Walker, Big Ramy, William Bonac, and Rafael Brandao were competing there last year as well. Because if Rafael Brandao was able to beat Tonio Bton, while not even being at his 100%, while not even being at his best, he is most definitely gonna beat him again at this year's Miss Olympia. Because the thing is, Brandao is just a bigger version of Tonio Bton, because he has equally good lines as Tonio Bton. So Tonio was originally a 212 guy, and he has done great things after switching to the men's open class. But he still needs more size, he needs more density, he needs more thickness, especially to compete against these mass monsters, the guys who are placing in the first call out at the Olympia. Now Tonio Bton is extremely impressive from the back, one of the best backs out there, so damn complete top to bottom. And he is gonna beat Rafael Brandao in both the back shots again at the Olympia. But he gets out-muscled from the front so much. So the question now is that, can Tonio Bton replicate his 2023 Miss Olympia performance and place in the top 8 again? Because if he can, that is gonna be a huge accomplishment. But judging by the lineup, the chances of that happening are looking kinda slim. But do let me know what you guys think. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.